If you are drinking coffee the way most people do, you're actually shutting down fat burning without even realizing it. The wrong timing, the wrong amount, or even just a teaspoon of the wrong ingredient can completely cancel out coffee's benefits and quietly pack fat back on. But when you fix those mistakes and start drinking it the right way, coffee stops being just a morning habit and becomes one of the most powerful fat loss tools that you have. In fact, research shows it can ramp up fat burning by nearly 30%. And with one simple upgrade, you can even multiply your results as much as 6 times. I'll bring to that. But before we get into the upgrades, you have to get the basics right, and that starts with the amount. Research shows that each cup of coffee that you add gives your body a bigger boost in fat burning. It works like a ladder. On the first rung, 1 cup, it only moves the needle by about 10%. Step up to 2 cups a day, and you're around 20% benefit and boost in your metabolism and fat burning. 3 cups hits about 25%, and then things peak at 4 cups. It pushes fat burning up to roughly 30%. Here's the catch. That's where the ladder ends. Past 4 cups, benefits flatten out. And the side effects can be jitters, poor sleep, high blood pressure. Those things can start climbing fast. So what's the sweet spot? If you want maximum fat burning without paying the price, aim for about 200 to 450 milligrams of caffeine a day. That's roughly 2 to 4 cups of coffee. That's the range where it works with your body, not against it. Note that when I say 2 to 4 cups, not one that takes 2 hands to hold it up. I'm talking about standard 8-ounce cups, about the size of a small diner coffee or 2/3 of a soda can. Most people pour 12 to 16 ounces, not even realizing it and counting that as a cup, which means your 1 cup could actually count as 2. So when you're filling up a big travel mug in the morning, you might already be halfway to your fat burning ceiling even before lunchtime. Now, there's another catch that nobody tells you. Your body adapts to coffee. That first cup on day 1 might spike your fat burning by nearly 30%, but keep pounding it every morning, and within a couple of weeks, that same cup may only give you 10% boost or a 10% edge. Now, fortunately, there are some steps that you can do to take to prevent your body from adapting. If you're like me, I don't mind it. I like that I get an extra boost. I just enjoy my coffee. But if you are using it for fat boosting, you can cycle your intake. Even a short reset works. In one study, people who cut out coffee for just 4 days regained that full fat burning response when they reintroduced it. So consider cycling off a day once every 2 weeks to maintain more of the fat burning effect. 2, you can save it for your workouts. I do like to do this on the weekends when I do a workout. So instead of sipping all day, use coffee strategically, especially before exercise, when it significantly multiplies the fat burning effect. We're going to go deeper on this in a moment. 3, though, adjust your dose smartly. So if you're a habitual drinker, your body might need the higher end of the range to get the best results. That's 1.8 milligrams of caffeine per pound of body weight. So for a 150-pound person, that's 270 to 240 milligrams, 2.5 to 4 cups. Again, any more than that, and the risks just start outweighing the rewards. So just know your upper limit based on your size. It's somewhere between that 2 and 4 cups. Next, coffee doesn't work the same at all hours of the day. So I'm gonna explain why, but before I do, please take a second to like this video. Doing so helps a lot more people discover this information so then they can start getting better results too. All right, here's the part most people get wrong. The timing of your coffee can make or break its fat burning power. Drink at the wrong time and you can waste the benefits or even cancel them altogether. Let me show you how this actually works. When you drink coffee, caffeine signals your fat cells to start releasing stored fat into the bloodstream. So on paper, that sounds amazing. In one study, they found that just drinking coffee fasted before eating, before moving, boosted fat release by as much as 44%. Here's the catch. Almost 3/4 of that fat never got burned. It was pulled out of storage only to get tucked right back in again. So yes, the fat gets mobilized, but without the right timing, it just gets stored again. This is why exercise changes everything. When your muscles start demanding more fuel, the fat your coffee freed up actually gets burned off. And that's when you see the big numbers. Research shows that pairing coffee with exercise raises fat burning by roughly 25 to 30% compared to people that just exercise alone without it. Now, here's the surprising part. It doesn't really matter if you're a morning exerciser or an afternoon exerciser. Now, if you work out in the morning, note that it has to be before breakfast in order to maximize the results. You want to get the coffee and the workout in before you eat that meal. That fasted state amplifies the effect, pushes fat burning to the higher end of that range. But later in the day, it will work just as well even after you've eaten a meal. Coffee before afternoon exercise still produces nearly the same boost as the fasted exercise does in the morning. In other words, the ceiling seems to be about 30% fat burning advantage, and you can reach it either way. Now, that's the upside of timing, but there's a downside too, and it can quietly sabotage your results. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 9 hours in your body, which means it hangs around in your system a lot longer than a lot of people give it credit, because the buzz kind of wears off, but it's still in your body 5 to 9 hours. And studies show that the caffeine from just 2 small cups of coffee taken 3 hours before bed is enough to shift people's internal clocks by about 40 minutes. Now, 40 minutes might not sound like much, but that shift is equivalent of flying across the time zone. Do it night after night, and then your body starts running on the wrong schedule. And when your body clock is off, the first thing to suffer is deep sleep, which is the stage when your body does its most powerful natural fat burning. So instead of accelerating fat loss, that late coffee quietly steals one of your best fat burning windows. So be careful drinking your coffee too late in the day. Next, how you prepare coffee can be the difference between multiplying fat loss results up to 6 times or wiping them out completely. And it all starts with the little things people add without even thinking. Sugar is the biggest offender. Harvard researchers followed nearly 150,000 people and found that adding just a single teaspoon of sugar to coffee each day was enough to cause steady long-term weight. 1 teaspoon of sugar. So it doesn't take a full sugar bomb frappuccino to ruin the benefits. Even the small spoonful that you stir in at breakfast shifts your coffee from fat burning to fat storing. Artificial sweeteners don't solve the problem either. Sucralose, the sugar-free option in so many different creamers, has been shown to disrupt gut bacteria, confuse insulin signaling, and drive more cravings later in the day. I actually did a whole video explaining why sucralose is one of the most dangerous common health ingredients out there. If you want to check that video out, like hundreds of thousands of other people, and learn more, I'll include a link to it in the description below. So if you can't use sugar or most artificial sweeteners, what do you put in your cup of coffee instead? Obviously, drinking your coffee black is a great option, but if you need some sweetness, consider using natural options like monk fruit or stevia. Unlike sugar, they don't spike blood sugar or insulin as much, and unlike artificial sweeteners, they don't disrupt gut health or drive more cravings because there's no chemicals. I actually use monk fruit for one of my sweeteners in my collagen blend, and I add that to my coffee some days and blend it in with butter and coconut oil. It is a delicious latte. And it keeps things flavorful without spiking blood sugar levels. And then here's the bonus. Collagen itself also has its own fat loss benefits. In a recent clinical trial, people taking collagen every day lost about 6.5 pounds over the course of a study, while the group without the collagen each day lost about 3 pounds. Not because collagen speeds up fat burning directly, but because it swells in the stomach and it makes you feel more full. So there's a lot of days I'll just have protein in my coffee. I call it coffee. You can check that video out as well. And it helps you eat less overall. And it helps me feel full up. I don't even need a breakfast. And it has a multivitamin in it, so I'm getting my nutrients as well. So in other words, the right collagen can indirectly double your fat loss simply by curbing appetite and reducing snacking for the rest of the day, and might allow you to actually skip breakfast. So I use it as an intermittent fasting tool. Now, in addition to collagen, there's an even stronger fat loss upgrade for your daily coffee. One that doesn't just protect fat burning, but it amplifies it. It's called moringa, also known as the miracle tree. I love moringa. It's one of the most incredible herbs. Clinical trials using moringa and moringa-based blends found that people lost anywhere from twice as much weight all the way up to 6 times more than placebo groups, even when diet and exercise were the same between the groups. In fact, it's so powerful that I started blending moringa right into my own brand of coffee, because if I'm using coffee as a fat loss tool and it's allowing me to just get nutrients in the morning and skip breakfast and do some fasting, I want every cup working as hard as I can for me. And coffee is one of the main antioxidants that Americans and people around the world get. Moringa is arguably the world's most powerful antioxidant. So this adds an extra layer of anti-aging and helping the body to stay healthy and strong and fight oxidative stress throughout the day. And I also made sure that the coffee was done the right way. Organic, shade grown, lab tested. That way I know I'm not just getting more fat burning power, but I'm avoiding pesticides and molds and additives that oftentimes sneak into low quality coffee. So if you'd like to try it out yourself, I'll include a link below for it. You can't taste the moringa in there. We've got whole bean and ground, but it's just the cup that I try. So if you want to try it along with the collagen, you can put these same tools to work in your routine every single day. Together, that's what helps me, and I know it can help a lot of other people, maximize the fat burning potential in every delicious cup. Now, coffee isn't the only liquid that supercharges fat loss when you use it the right way. There's another one, probably sitting in your kitchen right now, that works in a completely different way, but just as powerful. I'm talking about apple cider vinegar. And just like we did with coffee today, I'll show you the exact way to drink it, the timing that actually matters, and how to avoid the most common mistakes that sabotage its fat burning benefits. I'll include a link to that video right here. Click it to watch it next, and I'll see you there.